Hello and welcome to the Driftwood Boat Blog. This is the end of December, it's cold and it's wet, so I think we'll go inside in the boat.
It's New Year's Eve.
Oh yeah.
It's New Year's Eve and there's the bells ringing.
Yeah, so
It's not 12 o'clock yet.
Happy New Year. So that's a bit more comfortable than being outside and the jetty. What we want to talk to you about is how boating can be affordable if you go about boating the right way. There's a certain logic out there that boating is only for a certain group of people. It's there for pretty much everybody if you want to go boating enough, and that is the whole thing. We started off, remember our first boat?
Yeah, 17 foot.
Yeah, plywood day cruiser that some guy built in a shed in County Tipperary in Bansha, and we bought it. We thought it was gorgeous. We thought it was only beautiful. It was covered in it was made of plywood and then coated with fiberglass to try to keep the water out, an attempt that turned out to be a vain attempt, by the way. And when we bought it, the guy selling it to me told me, he says, you're getting the best of both worlds here. You're getting fiberglass and you're getting wood, which is a wonderful combination. Just make a mental note, it's not a wonderful combination. It's just
Nice.
if a wooden boat has fiberglass on the outside of it, it's because it's sinking. No other reason. But anyway, we had that for about 8 months. We did a lot of work to it, and we got it done up and we sold it on as a profit. And that, folks, is the key. And because we knew nothing about boating, absolutely nothing, and we just learned from making lots of mistakes, and I suppose we made almost all the mistakes we can make.
Yeah, we have two boys. Well, they were children at the time, and when we bought this boat, we thought, oh, this is heaven on earth. And we went off in February with 2 children on the midterm school break for a week, and it never stopped raining. Now, this boat was a day cruiser, wasn't it?
Wasn't meant to. You weren't meant to overnight
on it. It had a toilet, but it didn't, and a wash hand basin, but it didn't have a cooker. It was just a nightmare.
Only supposed to go for afternoons in it, and as Marion said, we tried to do a 2-week holiday in it, and at the end of about 10 days into the 2 weeks holidays, it was put up for sale. But the point is that we sold it on at a profit because we did a bit of work to it. We then upgraded to a ship's lifeboat
That was sunk.
Yeah, for 8 years, and we bought it while it was sunk. It was just sunk in the canal, so it wasn't completely submerged. It was a clinker built larch on oak wooden hull. Another point, don't ever buy a wooden boat, by the way. We kept that for 7 years. It was almost completely rotten. There was no engine in it when we bought it because it was rowed as a lifeboat. We stuck an engine into it. We did tons and tons of work in it, but we went everywhere on it. We were the kids on it.
Yeah, but we were
when it
so
came
posh
to selling
because we were so posh that we had 3 bunks. There was 2 single bunks up in the front, and the galley went into a double. Now, we had gone from a 17-foot boat that had 1 bed for the 4 of us to having 3 beds, so we were dead posh.
It was a big step up.
Oh, big step up. And it also had an oven.
Yeah.
And then Harry put a stove into it, which was, oh my goodness. Nobody wanted us near them, did they?
No, they didn't want us near them because they were worried that we catch woodworm off us. The boat was very, very rotten. In fact, it used to sink quite regularly, which is not really a good thing. But again, we sold that and we made quite a profit on that when we did sell it. We kept it for 7 years and we got a huge amount of use out of it over the 7 years. We went and we bought our first boat, and this was probably about 15 years ago, and something came in at that stage called osmosis. I had never heard of osmosis before then, and I don't know if it was known to anybody before then. Osmosis was the best thing that ever happened to fiberglass or GRP boats, and the reason it brought the price of them down, and it meant people like us could afford to buy a fiberglass boat that otherwise we'd no hope of buying. In my opinion, and it is just my opinion, osmosis does very little damage to a boat. Osmosis is the process where water soaks into the fiberglass, it delaminates it a small bit, and it swells it up into bubbles on the outside of the hull below the waterline. I would suspect that if you were taking the boat to sea, osmosis would not be a good thing. But if you're using it on an inland waterway, the strength of the hull, it'll well withstand a bit of osmosis, especially if the boat is an old boat, because old fiberglass boats were built of really thick fiberglass because they didn't realize at the time how strong fiberglass was. They made it really, really thick, which meant the boats were heavy hulled, which is good, made them stable in the water, and it meant they could withstand a lot of osmosis. So look for a boat with osmosis, beat the price down, and once the engine and gearbox are good, I always maintain that when you're looking at a boat, the 2 fundamentals that you must have is a good engine and a good gearbox. Do not buy a boat with a dodgy engine. no matter what they tell you, if it needs a
Nice
new
curtains,
battery or
nice curtains, nice foam.
don't worry about the colour of the boat.
Oven.
But and don't worry about the age of a boat. Both old boats are often better than the newer equivalents.
We call that boat an Banella.
Yeah,
That was the
Banella
third boat.
it's Irish and it means the other woman, because
There was
there
more
was
money
spent on Banella than there was spent on poor Marianne here.
Yeah. Then we were out for a walk or drive one Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
and we saw the Seamaster 30 for sale, which was, oh my goodness,
It was rough.
rough.
But this is the thing, you got to be able to see behind the
Past.
dirt. You got to see through it and see, have you got the basics of a good boat? Like
Which
this
it
boat
had.
was, it did.
It did have,
It was
yeah.
as rough as a bear's arse, but it had a good engine, it had a good gearbox. It started first turn the key. It also had mushrooms growing on the inside of it. It was,
We took 10 black bags of rubbish
Yeah.
off the bag,
Oh, it
out
was-
of the boat. Every
including
restaurant,
domestic
Ev-
television aerials that you'd have on an ordinary house.
there was cups, saucers,
That went
dessert bowls, teaspoons from every restaurant, hotel,
on the Shannon, wasn't it?
the Shannon, and further afield. It was all on his
But-
boat. I think every time he went out for something to eat, he took a memento from wherever he was
But
and left them all when we bought the boat.
But the thing is, if you can see past the dirt and you can see that you have a good boat behind it, and once you're willing to roll up your sleeves and get stuck in, you can get a good boat at the right price, and a few months working it, you can have a boat that's worth a lot of money that you can then sell on if you want to move on to something bigger and better. And that's where we're doing
Here we are
this
today.
good
where
couple
we
of
are
years.
today
Yeah,
now.
we're doing
Yeah.
this since 1993, so we've a nice boat now, and even that, like, Driftwood here was built in 1981, so she's not a young boat. She's quite dated, but age makes very little difference to a boat. Really makes very little
But it
difference.
has everything that we want.
Yeah,
You know,
No, it has.
it's a 6-berth boat, too comfortably, but it
Yes.
sleeps 6. And we have the oven, and we have the hob, and we have
We have a fridge, although Marion
Fridge.
insists on putting food into the fridge, which is it's so wrong, isn't it? I mean, fridges are there for beer. Why would you put food into it? If you have the
sometimes
luxuries,
you need to be fed.
no, if you have the luxuries like beer, you don't need the essentials.
Oh, cranky man if you're not fed. Oh, cranky man.
I do. I get cranky if I'm hungry, all right. So, in order to afford to go boating, you might have to prioritise what other things you do. For example, you may decide you're going to have to give up smoking, or you're not going to have the fancy car that you've always wanted to have. And it's
Or the
a matter
foreign
of
holiday.
Yeah, the foreign,
You know, the
yeah,
foreign
exactly,
holiday,
yeah.
you know.
And you're going to maybe have to learn how to do everything. But come here, listen, everything can be learned. The fact that you found this video here on YouTube means you know how to Google, you know how to search. I bet you if you wanted to change the oil on a BMC 1.5 two-cylinder diesel engine, you'll find a video out there for it and for everything else that you'd ever want to do on a boat. And if you can Google, you can learn. And if you can learn, you can save a lot of money, and you can actually make a lot of money buying a boat, working on it and selling it on.
So true. That's what we did.
It is. Now, the other thing is, please never buy an unfinished project, because in a year's time you will be doing exactly the same thing the person who is selling it at the moment is doing. You will be selling another unfinished project. Unfinished project is terminology for boats that will never ever see the water again.
Okay, that's it for this blog, and hope you enjoyed it. And we would like to wish you all a very happy new year.
Happy New Year, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Cheerio. Freezing. Cut out. It's freezing. No, start now.
Okay, guys. So
Well
that's
done.
that's a bit. Okay, guys. And start that again. Yep. That again, because I wasn't looking at it. And what was it I wanted to say? I think.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed our videos, and if you have, please click the round subscribe button at the top right hand corner of the screen, the one with the notification bell. That way YouTube will send you a notification as soon as our next video is out. If you have any comments, please leave them below. We would love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Cheerio.